Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about an amazing topic. For me, it's very fascinating. And we talk about information protection. Information protection, when we talk about that solution or that requirement in Microsoft terms, Microsoft solution, we are talking about Azure IP. Azure IP, it's a very powerful solution that helps to the organization to protect one of the main assets in your organization, which in this case is the data. Nowadays, we need to share information. Your confidential information, needs to be accessed in order to have the value. And the question is, how can we protect that information? Just a simple example, if you have your wallet, would you be interested in knowing who has access to your wallet, who takes your money, and what does with that money? Something like that comes to the organization, the assets, the data, how to protect that information which is confidential. One of the first part that you need to consider when designing an information protection solution is, do I have like the information classification policy? I mean, the first of all, in order to develop and create a good strategy in terms of protecting your information, the first thing is to understand, what do we want to protect? What is necessary to protect? What kind of data do I need to protect in my organization? And who needs to have access to that information? What is allowed to that person? Is this person to authorized to get access to this information? Is this person to have capabilities to share this information with other workmates inside the organization? And if we talk about sharing this confidential information outside of your organization, what are the permissions that they have? All of these questions are necessary when you are designing your information protection solution. Today, we are just going to talk about Azure IP, but as you know, Microsoft, this is the beauty of the Microsoft solution. We don't talk about only one workload. We are talking about integration with other solutions around the ecosystem. Today, I'm going to show you how you can use the Azure IP, Azure Information Protection solution, to protect your organization's data. Now, we are talking, we always divide these, we usually divide this in two sections. One is the admin side. I mean, what is the experience from the administrator's point of view? And what is the end user experience when consuming, when using in a daily basis this type of solution. On this demo, I'm going to show you how to manually classify. From the end user experience, the user will have just to open the document from this. From demo purposes, we will copy this file from the OneDrive folder from the end user. This user, his name is Alex. His name is Alex, and he wants to share protected information with ISA. So Alex just will open the document, or if the end user just want to save the document, and once the end user is trying to save the document, the interface will ask them to classify the document. This is something that can be configured. It's not necessarily the default behavior. The default behavior will be the end user will be able to open the file and select from the classification bar the label, that wants to apply. So for this time, the end user has just classified the document with highly confidential all employees, and he now wants to just share this, and let's try to see what would be the result if he wants to share this information, this file that has been manually protected with ISA. ISA will be able to open the document from the location where Alex saved the document. And as you can see, the end user, if he has permission, he will be able to open the document. As long as he has permission, we'll be able to open the document and we'll see the classification that has been applied to the document from Alex. In order to get access, the ISI in this user will require to be in the permissions that has been set for this classification, highly confidential. In order to get access, you can see the different permission this user has. Just doesn't have full control. It only has view and other permission that has been particularly assigned manually. This is one of the interface from Azure IP. Using the right click. This is another option where the end user is able to use the Azure IP interface. If the user wants to protect, in this case Alex, he wants to protect his timesheet with another user, ISI. If he wants to share it in a protected manner, he just need to right click the file and select the option to classify and protect. This will open a new menu, a new screen where the user can just select the template it wants to apply to the documents, in this case, the highly confidential. Once the document has been right click protected with Azure IP, the consumer, in this case ISI, will be able to consume the document that has been manually protected using the right click option in Azure IP interface. As you can see, there are two simple ways to manually protect a document and make sure that information is correctly shared in a secure manner with other employees. How to manually classify and consume an email. As you can see, Azure IP allows the end user to collaborate securely with other coworkers or other entities. On this example, we are just creating, Alex is just creating an email that he will be sending to ISI. And this document or this email will be sent using the classification of Azure IP. As you can see, the interface in the Outlook application will appear the classification labels from where the end user will be able just to select the classification that he wants to apply to the email. Using these capabilities allows to share protected emails without so very easy, doing it so very easy and flexible as you can see. Once Alex has sent the email, the end user or the consumer, ISI, will be able to open the email that has been sent by ISI, and he will be able to open the protected document or the protected email in this case, because this email has no attachment. So in this case, ISI will be able, if he has permission to open the email, he will be able just double clicking the email, and he will see on the bar on the interface the classification that has been applied, in this case highly confidential, and he can just right click and see the permissions that has been applied to the email. Now that we have seen how to manually classify the document, the file, an Office file, and remember that you can do it with the PDF files and many other files, type files, like PDF documents, TXT files, and this is one part, the manually. Now let's go to see how can we use the same interface to recommend, for example, the classification. Okay, let's say that there is a new user in your organization. How can we help to these new users to make sure that their information that they are creating will be classified and protected? Obviously, when there is a new user in your organization, probably that user will start to learn what are the information classification policies, but maybe they won't memorize them. So at the beginning, for example, when you are implementing the Azure IP solution, one of the recommendations is to use recommended labeling, which means that we define the solution, we train the solution, we educate the solution, so it looks for some patterns, some keywords that are needed in order to determine what type of classification or labeling requires or needs to be applied to this information. Once that recommendation, this pop-up will appear to the end user, as you see. it will be like a, okay, according to this type of content that you have here, the recommended classification is the following: confidential, highly confidential, or for a specific project. Now, once you have that recommendation, that will train to the end user to understand, okay, this information requires to be classified in this way. But then if we go to the next level, okay, one time I was working with a customer, and they asked me, hey, I need all the information from the organization. I want it to be protected, to born protected. Okay, I don't want to let to the end users just to remember that they need to classify and protect the information. I need to go in a higher level. I need to analyze the content and then apply classifications. Is that possible? The answer is yes. You can do that. You can train the Azure IP solution. Remember, the first portion, very key, is to have that information classification policy. Then you can take that information classification policy and translate it into the technical control, which in this case is the Azure IP. With the Azure IP solution, you will be able to define and have that all of those capabilities in your control. Remember that when you have that kind of control, you have that peace of mind, and then you can go home with your family and do whatever you want with a peace of mind that all the information is being protected. You are making sure that information that you share is really consumed by only the appropriated consumers with the right recipients from the files perspective sharing, uh, and also from the email, from the collaboration. Remember that we live in a modern workplace, in a modern world. Well, we need to share the information in order to enable to the end user more productivity and more businesses, okay? More use cases or scenarios where they can share in a secure manner the information. So as you can see, the Azure IP is a very powerful solution. That's what I love it. So let's continue. It is amazing how to see, once you have correctly configured your Azure IP solution, your Azure Information Protection solution in your infrastructure, it just runs so smoothly. An end user just double click the file, and based on the contents, it will apply automatically a classification policy. This will make sure that the information is correctly protected and classified and can be just shared with the people, with the right people. As you can see, there is nothing to do for the end user just to open the file. He won't need to worry about the type of classification. It's just based on the content that will be applied automatically. If you want to automatically classify an email from one user to another, so on this interface, you can see the Outlook application. This user Alex is creating an email that will be sending to Megan, and he will attach a document because the classification and protection that is applied to an email will also apply to the document that is attached. As you can see, the document is attached and sent to the other user, the Megan. One of the important things to consider is the type of files that will be attached. There are some files that support native protection and other files that will have a different protection to the document. As you can see now, we come with a user Megan, and she's able to open the document, the email that was sent by Alex, and he's able to see that. You can see that the email is also encrypted and classified. You can see the permissions, and if you want, you can also open the file that is attached to the email, and you can also see the document protection, the document classification. So as you can see, this protection was actually applied in automatic way because the Alex user didn't select any classification type. This is something that you can do based on some keywords that you can configure in your Azure IP interface in the admin console. Based on contents, we can just automatically classify documents and emails that we can send to the end users. As you can see, the Azure IP interface allows you to have that flexibility and control based on some keywords and content that are found in your files and emails. You will be able to recommend the classification to the end user. So as you can see here, the user Alex is opening a document, and based on the content, which in this case are credit cards, there is a classification recommended for the for type of for content, as you can see here in this document. And the same applies if the user, for example, wants to create an email. It will be based on the content, will be applied the classification based on the content. If the content has, if the email content has some information that needs to be classified as confidential or internal, the classification will be applied. Or if the confidential or highly confidential classification requires to be applied to the email, it also will be applied. Just when it hits the send or clicks the send button, the classification will be recommended to the end user. This is something that you can configure in your Azure infrastructure. You can define the what content should be just recommended, or if another content requires just to automatically classify the document based on the content. Let's suppose this is for more sensitive information that requires to be protected. So as you can see, ISI user is able to receive the email from Alex, and as you can see, he's able to see the permission that has been applied to the email based on the recommended classifications. And he will not be allowed to print, or in this case, he will not be allowed to forward this email to another user. That's something that you can also configure in your Azure IP console. Another cool part is, what if you want and you need to share information with external? I mean, if they don't have Azure IP, what can we do if we want to share this information? Okay, as you can see, we can share information, protected information, confidential information with externals. And nowadays, we can share it with persons that they don't belong to an organization, to the corporate world. That's what we say business to consumer. Okay, we are sending this protected information to a specific user, and if that user only has the social domain like a Gmail, so no problem with it. You can send that information. Remember that we are looking for to protect our asset, which in this case the data. So in this case, we can use the OME, the Office Message Encryption that Microsoft has made available. As you can see, this is a very powerful solution also for enabling all other collaboration scenarios, or integrating Azure IP with Exchange, for example, in this case, Exchange Online. So as you can see, this is an amazing solution that allows you to create and share protected information with external, with users that don't belong to an organization. Maybe they just have a social email domain attached and an account in Google, for example. So it's very easy if your end users in your organization wants to share information with this type of users. So as you can see on this video, this user is just creating an email and attaching a document, and will be sending this email to an external user. In this case, is msdemo@gmail.com. The next step will be the end user from Gmail will be able to receive this protected document, this protected email. This email has been securely protected by using Office Message Encryption, which is a capability that it's integrated with Azure IP and Exchange, and allows to collaborate with external parties. Once the user from Gmail has access to the document, it requires to present an additional authentication just to validate that the user is the correct user that the email has been sent. The end user has the two options, or sign in again with a Google account, or just send a passcode. This passcode will be just one-time passcodes that will be accessed or be used for the end user from Gmail to open the protected email. As you can see at the end user once the user provides the code, the one-time password code, the email is encapsulated in Outlook Web Access, and so the email, even if the user is from Gmail, he's able to open the protected document using the AIP and Office Message encryption capabilities, and has the option to open the protected document, which is also protected and apply in this case the do not forward template that comes with the Azure IP and Exchange. As you can see, we can also integrate the Azure IP solutions with other workloads like in this SharePoint. So if you have your site, your internet site, and you want to share protected information, I mean, you want to make sure that the end user is just drag and drop the file to the SharePoint portal, and we want to make sure that all the information, it can be some use cases, right, some scenario where you require to have all your information that is uploaded to one specific document library, you want it to be protected. So there is no problem with it. You can do it with Azure IP and SharePoint. I mean, you can specify in this case in the document library the permissions if some specific person needs to get access to that document library, if that person will have just read access or will be able to collaborate editing the files and will have full control. We can make sure that that integration with Azure IP and SharePoint, that's also a powerful capability. I remember that in the beginning when Azure IP didn't have the classification part, we also we needed to have this kind of classification with all the other type of solutions, like RightSwitch, for example. I remember when I used to work with that implementation integration, but now that Microsoft has this capability already available in the solution, you have the power of integrating and protecting your document in your repositories, in this case in SharePoint. If you are an end user where your organization has already implemented Azure IP and integrated it with SharePoint, if you want, in this example, Alex, this is an end user, just trying to share with another user in a secure manner through SharePoint. The end user just takes the files. In this case, he opens the file just for demo purposes to demonstrate that the document is not at this time classified nor protected. Once the document has already been identified, we just drag and drop this file to this specific document library, and behind the scenes, through the integration, there will be some classification and protection capabilities provided by Azure IP, and due to the integration with SharePoint on this single repository, you can define based on the document library permissions. As you can see, Alex has the member permission and will be the one also who upload the document. And if you want to see now the results, now the document has been uploaded, if you want to download this document and share it later on, you will see the results. At this time, we just open the document that we have just uploaded. Now we download it to a downloads folder, and you will be able to see that the document is now protected with Azure IP. You can see the classification that was applied, and you can see the permissions that this user has the edit and view permission, as you can collaborate and edit the files. The document has been already uploaded to SharePoint. Now, if we come to with the user ISI, he will have access also to the same document library, but he has no permissions on the library. He just can view the documents that exist in the library, and at this point he is also able to download the document. And once this user ISI opens the document, you will see the results that the document is also protected and classify with Azure IP, and protecting the document on the SharePoint site. It's important to see the different permissions. Now this user does not have the edit permission. So as you can see, the integration that allows Azure IP with SharePoint and this type of workloads is very efficient and very practical and flexible, and provides the required protection to the organization through the enabling this collaboration scenario. Another important scenario is how can we enable, we live in a modern workplace, modern world, where we need to share information. I was reading the last time, we can, it's better not to say to the user if the end user wants to get access to the organization's resources. And we cannot say, no, you won't have access. It's better to say, okay, you have access, you will have access, but you will have to comply with these security policies. If you want to get access to my organization's data from your mobile devices, then you need to be in compliance. You need to have such kind of controls in the infrastructure in order to allow to your end users to have access to the protected information. And one of the beauty, as you can see, is that with now with the latest version of Azure IP, you can also use mobile devices to enable the classification and protection from documents. That wasn't possible some time ago. You were only able to consume, but now you are also able to start creating. If you're in a plane, if you are wherever you are in a trip, and you want to use your mobile device to protect confidential information with your Outlook application, that's something you can do. This is very amazing. At the speed that Microsoft is going up and really updating and making the solutions more friendly, more flexible, and enabling other scenarios, as you can see. As you can see on this video, a user is sending a document, an email with a document that is attached, and it just applies the classification and it's sent. For demo purposes, the same user will try to open the document, the same email, on his phone. As this Azure IP is also integrated with other solutions like application protection policies. And this Outlook application is being protected with a PIN, which allows to provide more control to the end user on his mobile device. Once the end user provides the PIN, he will be able to see the email that has been sent to himself, and he will be able to open the protected email, the classified and protected email, and the document too. As you can see, the classification has been applied to the email. It's also applied to the document. This provides just an amazing capability to share information securely, including mobile devices. This is a great improvement from Microsoft, allowing to end users now to be able to use their mobile devices to create protected content. As you can see here in this video, the user is using his mobile device and is sending an email to ISA. Using the Outlook application from this, in this case, is an Android mobile device. It also works with iOS devices too. In this case, he's sending an email regarding his availability and also attaching a document, an Excel spreadsheet. It will be also into the email. It will be sent to Isaiah. Just as simple, selecting the document and also clicking on the options of the application, you will see the capabilities to select the classification label. In this case, just selecting the right sensitivity label to apply to the document. It will also apply to the document attached into the email. So both will be protected, the email and the file. Now the email has been sent. Now, from the end user, the recipient just allowed the email from Alex. And as you can see, the recipient is also able to see the sensitivity label that has been applied to the email and also to the document. And he double clicks the document, and he will be able to open and see that document is also classified with the label, with the sensitivity label that has been applied to the document too. So this is just really wonderful how to apply protection using mobile devices. So if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, remember to subscribe. Then you will be receiving additional information that will be useful for you in terms of Microsoft solutions related to security. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll share with you in the next video. You know, this has been a very amazing video. I mean, it's a short video, but I enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it too. And I will be sharing with you more of this kind of videos related to information protection and other Microsoft solution topics. To the next video. It was cool.